Hello and welcome. This is a week ahead check-in, reading, connection. So if you're new here, my name is Shannon and I am a shamanic practitioner. And I have started doing these weekly check-in readings here on whether you're connecting in via Substack or YouTube or a podcast player. I've started doing these weekly check-ins just to tap into the energy of the week ahead, to share some intuitive messages and guidance that comes through for the week ahead, and to just kind of tap into the energetics of what is happening. So with this particular reading, I do want to tap in quickly to a little bit of the astrology happening this week. As I've said in a couple of the past readings, I'm not going to go super deep into the astrology. There are so many beautiful resources out there for astrology. So if you want to go deeper, you can go to astrologers. I consider myself kind of a intermediate-ish level astrologer. Like, I understand astrology, I follow it, but I am not going to go deep into the depths of it. So what I am doing here is we're going to tap into a bit of the astrology for this week. So the week starting March 2nd. And then I'm going to share with you some intuitive messages that are coming through to support you as you move through the energy of this week. This is a big week. We are right in the middle of eclipse season. We had our first eclipse in Aquarius on February 17th. And we have our second eclipse in the series of this eclipse season. It happens on March 3rd, and it is going to be a South Node eclipse. It's a lunar eclipse. It's in Virgo, and it's a full moon lunar eclipse. It is called a blood moon eclipse when with an eclipse, like, everything goes dark, right? We can't, like, the moon is eclipsed by the sun, we can't see it. And then after that moment, if you look out at the sky, or in the right part of the world to see it, which, like, most of my audience, most of my connection, my community is in North America, we'll definitely be able to see it here if you get up early. The moon is going to look red, so it's a blood moon eclipse. Blood moons don't happen all the time. They don't happen every year. We don't always have eclipses that are blood moons. It is considered to have extra influence and impact, blood moon eclipses. Like, they're even stronger eclipse energy. So let's go back to the astrology of this. So the eclipse itself, it happens on March 3rd, so on Tuesday. And what's really kind of interesting, just looking at the patterns of this, so it's our last eclipse in Virgo of the Virgo Pisces eclipse cycle that started at the beginning of January of 2025. So it's our last eclipse in Virgo. Virgo is where the South Node, which is, like, South Node is release, is what we're letting go of. Virgo has been in the South Node, or South Node has been in Virgo since January of 2025. When the South Node is in Virgo, it's a lot of, like, releasing our perfectionist tendencies. Our inner critic comes out, and it's like, let's work with the inner critic. You may have been doing a lot of that in the last little over a year. And also, Virgo rules our body and our health and our routine. So there could be restructuring of those things that have been going on for you as we have had the South Node in Virgo. I will say I have a very Virgo heavy chart. My sun, my rising, my Venus are all in Virgo. Plus, like, I have lots of, like, other little points, like asteroids and stuff in Virgo, in the tropical system. And I like the South Node in Virgo, for me, as someone with, like, really heavy Virgo placements, just to give you an example. This time period has brought me very deep into looking at my inner perfectionist and my inner critic. Very Virgo energies. I have very developed a perfectionist and inner critic, parts within me as someone with so much Virgo energy. And I have been really working with those aspects of myself and releasing a lot of old ways of relating to myself, and relating to those parts of myself, or relating to myself through this critical perfectionist lens, right? That's been a huge part of my journey with Virgo in the South Node. And so I share that because sometimes I find it very helpful to hear other people's experiences, and it helps me put my experience into context. So notice if you haven't, if you haven't thought about this already, if you want to think into what has Virgo at the South Node been doing for me or bringing me through in the last year-ish, think about like, are there places where you have been reworking your routines, working on your health or connecting to your body, or, really getting to make friends with your inner critic as opposed to like be bullied by your inner critic, right? Those are some examples of how that could be showing up. So this is our last eclipse in Virgo. It's our last eclipse with Virgo at the South Node. The nodes change this summer. The North Node will move out of Pisces, the South Node will move out of Virgo, and they'll go to Aquarius and Leo respectively, but that's a whole other conversation. Doesn't matter for this week. The eclipse happens at 12 degrees of Virgo. I do think degrees are really interesting to look at when we're talking about eclipses or big astrological events, because if you are familiar with your chart, you can pull up your chart and you can go, do I have any degrees or any planets or placements around 12 degrees of Virgo, or even like 12 degrees of Gemini, or Pisces or Sagittarius, because those are the other mutable signs. So in a chart, say you had something, this eclipse is happening 12 degrees of Virgo, and you have a placement at 12 degrees of Gemini, that's going to be squaring the eclipse. So that will have an extra, you'll have an extra kind of oomph of energy that is impacting you, even if you don't have a placement at 12 degrees Virgo. Same with 12 degrees Gemini. Sagittarius, that would also be like a square to Virgo. 12 degrees Pisces would be an opposition to Virgo. So those are all those are angles that often we feel the energy. So that's why I mentioned those. So I like to look at the degree and just see, is this impacting anything that I specifically have? So you can take a look at that. And also around 12 degrees. Most astrologers that I have learned from talk about, so this is the rule of thumb I follow, looking at planets or placements within about 2 to 3 degrees on each side. So this eclipse is happening at 12 degrees Virgo. Do you have anything between 12 and 15 degrees, or 9 and 12 degrees Virgo, or any other, the other signs I mentioned? That could be an indication of, this eclipse is going to work with me, perhaps a little bit more specifically. Because eclipses they impact us all always, but sometimes they impact, depending on what the eclipse is, depending on that degree, depending on where it's hitting your chart, it might impact you more than it impacts your friend, right? Or it might impact you more than it impacts someone in your family. And sometimes eclipses can be very impactful for us. So for example, last year we had a South Node eclipse in Virgo last March, and that eclipse was at 23 degrees, which is the sign of my rising. My rising sign is at 23 degrees. So it was right smack dab. It was very, very deeply impacting my chart. And last March was such a hugely transformative time for me. And so that was really helpful to know. I was okay, this eclipse is really hitting me. It's right on my ascendant. This is going to have some kind of wave of impact on how I'm showing up in the world. Ascendant is how we show up in the world. Okay, so anyway, that's my little spiel about the degree, if you care about looking into that at your chart. And the other thing that I think is really interesting about this eclipse, I'm looking at notes, a couple of things I wanted to make sure I touched in on before I get to the intuitive messages, is that on a pattern level again, this eclipse happens on March 3rd, so third day of the third month, and in the Pacific time zone, it happens at 3:33 a.m. A lot of threes there. Got a lot of numerology of 3 going on. I think that's really interesting. And of course, there are people who really connect into the portals of months. They call them the day that the number of the month corresponds to. So in January, it's the 1-1 portal. In February, it's the 2-2. In March, it's the 3-3. So if you like to follow that numerology, then it's also the 3-3 portal on that this eclipse is happening. And like I said before, it's a blood moon eclipse. And I was looking at this. Apparently, we are not going to have another blood moon until 2029. It doesn't happen every year. So there is, and the blood moon is considered, like I said earlier, to bring extra oomph to a moon phase, and in this case to an eclipse. So this could be like quite a powerful eclipse. And we had our first eclipse of this series was in Aquarius. It's on the 17th of February, which was also when we had the Chinese New Year. We moved into the year of the horse, and then we had the Saturn Neptune conjunction in Aries on the 20th of February. Like, wow, we've been in this like whirlpool of energy, and there's more things that have happened astrologically than that in these last couple of weeks. All to say, this eclipse in Virgo has the potential to be a major closing out of something, a major like break with what was, and therefore potential portal into what is coming, or what already, like, what is now. It's really interesting that the last eclipse closed the year of the snake, and then 2 weeks later we have this eclipse on March 3rd that is a south node eclipse, so there is a like finality to that, and it's 2 weeks after the year of the snake ended and the year of the fire horse started. And yeah, this eclipse in a sense is more of a closing kind of eclipse. Generally, south node eclipses we look at more as like what's closing, but it could be what's closing that is part of that is freeing you, right? As opposed to year of the snake, we were talking so much and thinking so much about like shedding. What am I shedding? What am I releasing? Instead of thinking about this eclipse as like what am I releasing and shedding, it's like what is closing that frees me, that releases me into the future, that the horse energy is galloping me towards, right? For example, that's one way to think of this. Or that the horse doesn't always gallop, that the horse energy is leading me towards, right? Like, I've seen a couple of posts on social media talking about the horse energy, and like a lot of the times it's being talked about as like gallop. It's like the horses gallop, they go fast, which obviously I just said. But another way to think of the horse energy is if you spent time around horses. This really resonated with me because I did spend a lot of time around horses as a kid, and when you spend time around horses, they're very like embodied, and they don't like go off and just gallop like crazy unless they are scared, right? Horses are very nurturing. Their nervous systems, when a horse is well cared for and healthy and all the things, like their nervous systems are so calming, and so beautiful to be around. And it's, horse therapy is a thing, right? For that reason. So Year of the Horse is not just about galloping. It's also about like regulating your nervous system. Has been such a huge topic on like social media and in healing circles for so long, right? And Year of the Horse could also be about like regulating your system and coming into peace in your system so you can move forward when you want to gallop, right? And it's like really crystallizing and embodying this idea that's been like such a big deal. I feel like it's been a couple of years since I first started seeing so much extra content coming out in spiritual spaces, like whether, or healing spaces, whether it's on Instagram or podcast or, whatever, all these different platforms we have now, where people are talking about regulating their nervous system. And it's like, well, okay, a horse is a very regulating animal to be with. That's why, like I said, people do horse therapy. So, what if this eclipse is helping you close out those Virgo, old, unhealthy Virgo patterns, right? Because every sign has a healthy and an unhealthy expression. The unhealthy Virgo patterns of criticism and perfectionism and not taking care of the body and over anxiety and over stress and all these things that keep your nervous system like, how do I say that? Like, going up and down. I'm just making hand gestures. Sometimes it's so much easier to talk with my hands, but you may not be watching the video of this. My internet got a little wonky there. Okay. Anyway, so that's something to think about with this eclipse. Like, what if this eclipse is supporting you in closing out the patterns, the Virgo things, the Virgo South Node things that have been keeping you in maybe more of a wonky nervous system energy space. Okay, so that's the energy of this eclipse. Let me see. Did I forget anything? Yeah, we are in some way, because this is a South Node eclipse, we are wrapping things up, but it doesn't have to mean, and I don't think it means personally, like my intuitive connection and read on this is like, I don't think this is, we're not shedding anymore. It's not like where we were in 2025. It's not the 9 year, the endings. It's more the like, what am I freeing myself from? What is this eclipse helping me free myself from even more, so that I can keep walking forward into this beautiful, expansive potential energy of this year, even more myself, even more embodied, even more strong, like all of, like even more anchored in who I am, all that stuff. So that's the energy I want you to be aware of, or at least I want to talk about here. There's more that happens next week, sure, astrologically, but I just wanted to tap in with this eclipse, and then tapping into the energy of the whole week. I really love working with the runes a lot when I do these year ahead readings. That's what I've used before. Like last week, I pulled some runes. I pulled some runes before starting recording, and the runes were like, it was such a no. They're like, no, we're not giving you a message. So I am just going to give you some intuitive reads, some intuitive messages that are coming through to me. I'm going to take a moment to center back in. I've already opened space before I started recording and called in my guides and like the loving ancestors, loving spirit guides for this community, for this group, for like if you're here watching this and receiving this, then and you want to receive this message, then this is for you. That's my intention as I connected in an open space. But I'm just going to take a moment to connect back in and also call in the group, this collective like soul records, Akashic connection, as it were, for any messages that may want to come through for this week ahead, for the week of March 2nd. So you're welcome to close your eyes with me for a moment if you'd like to. I'm just going to be silent and connect back in. This is a destiny week. And what we mean by that, this is coming from my Akashic guides, connecting in for this collective group. So this is a destiny week. And what we mean by that is this is one of those weeks where the energy really supports you in choosing your destiny. It supports you in making moves towards your destiny. That doesn't mean like you might not make big outward physical moves this week. You could, but you may not. Destiny week and making moves towards your destiny means like this is a week to be aware of the actions you're taking. Are you taking actions that move you towards the destiny that you feel your soul being drawn to? Not what your mind thinks your destiny is, not what your parents think your destiny is, not what your boss thinks your destiny is, right? It's like, what is your soul saying? This is my destiny path. I am being pulled. It's this strong, I can't, like unrelenting, but loving, right? But like this strong, I can't ignore it pull towards this destiny path. This is a week where that pull, if you're tapped in and you're paying attention, it's going to feel louder. It's going to feel stronger. It's going to feel, you can't ignore it this week. Because use the energy of this eclipse, just set the intention with the energy of this eclipse that it helps you release, that it helps you break free of the bindings, the constructs, the shit, such a good word for it, that has kept you small, that has kept you condensed. If you're watching me, see how like my body just condensing in? Even do that, as you take a minute here and like condense your body and make yourself as small as you can. Feel that tension in your muscles and then release it. How does that feel, right? Feel the bigness of your energy when you allow yourself to release, right? Set the intention, if you wish to, if this resonates with you, for this eclipse to help you break free of what has been keeping you tight, constricted, unable to be in your bigness of your energy. The last couple years, it's been easy to just ride Ride the waves. And easy in the sense of like, it's been easy to be like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I feel like there's, I have intuitive callings. I have a soul calling. I feel that, but like, I don't have to follow it right now. I'm not ready yet. The inner critic going, oh, I'm not ready. I'm not good enough. Right. It's been easier the last few years, last couple of years to like, let the smallness win and just be like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. This eclipse is an energy, and this whole week is a week. It's the destiny week. It's like, it's a week where the energy is going to make you feel, if you're tapping into it, like, oh, it's not easy to stay small and hidden anymore. If that's not what your soul is here to do right now, if that's no longer like aligned or healthy or using your energy to your highest good anymore, you're not gonna be able to do it. It's gonna feel like, oh God, I can't do that anymore. It's like being ripped away from you because you can't stay hidden. You can't stay small. You can't stay constricted and hiding and like not living in the bigness of your energy anymore. You just can't do it. And now I'm being reminded that every year I do year ahead readings. And a lot of the year ahead readings I did for 2026. A lot of big energy started happening. I was reading big energy for a lot of different people. I got to read for it in March. There's some kind of energy shift in March. Some kind of like, well, yeah, the bigness of the energy, like claiming or stepping into bigness of energy in a new way. That started in March for a lot of the readings I did, which is really interesting. I didn't make that connection until now. And I always do those year ahead readings before I really look at the astrology of the year. The only thing I was aware of was the February 20th conjunction, because I've been aware of that one for a long time. And so now, making that connection, being reminded of that, oh, here we are. Here's an eclipse, very beginning of March. Breaking open our energy. Destiny energy this week. But destiny energy doesn't mean be reckless. Make the moves, follow the energy, but be very clear, be certain. If there are big moves that you feel called to make this week or that you've been planning to make this week, that's great. But be certain. Especially if it's something that you haven't been already planning. Like if you have a big, oh, I want to do this week that comes in. There's this little like feeling, energy of caution I'm getting of just like, sit with it. You don't have to, like, you can receive a strong, like, yes, I want to do this. Yes, this is aligned. This is the move I want to make. But you don't have to be impulsive you don't have to be crazy spontaneous this week. Like you can receive the pulse, the idea, and then sit with it and let it like move through your system and your body and then take the action. Especially if we're talking really, really big moves, really big action. This is not going to be true for everyone. Like this message isn't for every single person. You'll like just trust. If your body feels like a yes or a no to that message, then you know if that message is for you. Of course, this is general. This is a general read. This is a general intuitive message read right now. So it's like you have to, with a general read to an extent, you have to like run everything that is coming through, all these like messages through your system and see, is this for me or not? So we'll say no. Introduction. Any other messages for this week ahead? This is a week to practice trust. Trust in yourself. Practice breathing trust through your body. to practice what does the energy of trust feel like? How do I cultivate more trust in myself? How do I trust myself? Practice trust in yourself. This is a good week to practice trusting and to practice holding more trust in yourself, holding more trust in your connection to spirit, to intuition as well. Because in the end, the person that you have to trust the most is yourself. This is a good week for that. And to use the energy of this eclipse, ask it to help you break free of where you don't trust yourself, right? Where your lack of trust keeps you constricted, break free. That feels complete. And those feel like really simple but powerful messages. So I'm going to leave that word there. Thank you. Allowing that space to close. Again, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Run it through your own inner trust, right? There we go. This feels like a really big week. It just feels like one of those weeks where the energy is important. Pay attention to it. Be present with it. Pay attention to it and be present with it. And see what unfolds. Thank you for joining me for this week ahead check-in. If this was helpful, if anything really resonates and you want to share, please leave a comment. I would love to hear how this lands. And if this is helpful, if you want to keep seeing more things like this, please let me know. Thanks for being here and wishing you a beautiful week. Hoping that the week of March 2nd on is a really beautiful destiny week for you. All right. See you next time.